It's great, but it's very small niche that can do it well. That's why 0.0001% of the videos on YouTube have more than 10,000 views, which means most of them have 4. By the way, you can like refresh 110 times your own YouTube video before it stops the meter, so you should at least all have 110 views on your video. That's the way I do. I'm my biggest fan, favorite. I'm one day away from following myself on Twitter. But then the whole world would just blow up. Can't compute. All right, so the last one being blogs. You have unlimited real estate, and it's just you. You're not limited to characters, you're not limited to pages, and it's you. You're not competing against other videos. And that's the problem, again, with YouTube, is when you're done the video, what happens? What happens when you end the video on YouTube? Recommended other videos, right? Here's your competition. Who's better than you at videos? Please enjoy some real videos now. On the right side, related videos, which translated in Italian means better than you, come see them, okay? And then you embed them. You're like, I'll be tricky and I'll embed them on my own website, right? Which is smart, but at the end, it's related videos, better people, again, more attractive people, come see them on your website. There's a way to turn that off, by the way. If you really want to embed YouTube, there's a thing you can go into the sections and uncheck the suggest related videos, and then you're a ninja. No charge, by the way. That'll be my unawkward course becoming out in a month or so. So the blogs, unlimited real estate, and again, it's just you, so you're not having a competition on your blog. You guessed it, the biggest trouble with blogs is the pros as well. It's unlimited real estate, so you never know when to shut up. Like Twitter, because you have to shut up. It's made me a much better writer. Right? It's 140 characters for me. It's much better. Unlimited real estate is you can just kind of ramble, and you have no incentive to tighten your posts up. You never have any incentive to tighten your writing up, and that's very important to keep attention. Because nowadays we have an attention span of a monkey with ADD. Like we have no attention span whatsoever. Look, myself included. I'm more of a mosquito or a hummingbird with ADD. I can't pay attention to anything. I need it once you ever loaded the video, it takes like a second and a half. You're like, come on. It's been 4 seconds. Can you check the connection? Check the wiggle it. Oh, it's done. It's loaded. I'm lost interest, right? And you walk away. We're such that nation that it's the hardest thing, and it's just you. You launch your blog, and it's you. And the problem is, these are your platforms. If it's going to be your soapbox to start with, and you stand on that soapbox, okay, and you get up there and say, I got to build momentum. The problem is, if you start a blog, the only way you build momentum without a newsletter, without a following, is really through the search engines, right? Unless you send it to your friends and family. And that gets annoying really quickly, because they're no longer your friends, and they still have to be your family. They just talk about you when you're not there. Is that you have to organically grow it through search terms. That takes a long, long time. So for me, the best platform, obviously for me, has been my birdie. It's been Twitter. It's great, it's quick, it's short, it's 140 characters, and it's open networking. What I mean by this is open networking is, again, I don't need permission to follow you. I don't need permission. I don't need you to follow me for me to talk to you on Twitter. That's the coolest thing. It's instant conversation. And I love that part about Twitter, is I don't need permission to learn from you. I don't need permission to retweet what you just said. I don't need permission to get to know you without commitment. Because that's what it is, right? It's like all these sites are all online business dating. That's what it comes down to, right? You got the awkward first hello, everything's great. You're not sure if the picture is actually the person, what they look like. Maybe it's from 15 years ago. You're never really sure. It's dating, but for business. And of course, the biggest trouble with Twitter is the same thing. It's quick. Twitter has no shelf life. Unless you said something really controversial, right? You've got no shelf life. Literally, your tweet will die in minutes after saying it, which means why you need to be a little more present or consistent. But it's quick. It's short, meaning you start using abbreviations that like my 8-year-old uses, right? BRB, you know, like be right back, and LOL, and ROTFLOL, and ROTFLOL, LMAO, and like it just hurts my brain sometimes, right? Where you think people understand it, and some don't. And now you don't look like you can spell anymore. Like the English language is screwed because of things like Twitter and texting, because we got to abbreviate everything. So that's a huge issue, and it's also open. When you ask for the world to come, the world does, including the not cool people. And the cool people, but the not so cool ones. And we'll talk a little bit more about these guys here. So, you know what I'm going to talk about now?
Yourself.
Who? Me. I'm going to tell you how I built my platform on Twitter, Okay, is that okay? Talk a little bit about this, the me and social media? Okay, good. Okay, sorry, I'm done. So for me in social media, I was on Twitter like a lot of you. I know some of you were around like from the old days, which is 2008. You know, way back in the day, like the prehistoric days of Twitter, which is called Twit. I mean, I had the ER on there. So I got on there and said, big deal. This kind of sucks. That was my first reaction on Twitter. This is lame. Anybody else get that reaction first? Yeah. Right? Yeah. The line, what the hell's the point? Was my biggest point here. Thank you for telling me what you just had for lunch. Thank you for telling me what song you're listening to. I've already got this mundane, boring stuff in my own life. I don't need to see everybody else doing the same. It just makes me realize everybody else has as boring a life as I do. Right? I didn't get it. I really didn't. And so I did it casually, because again, if it was about me, I was in for it. So I'm like, yeah, this is me. I'm doing this today. And here's a witty line. Look at me. And I said it casually from April until January 09. So it started January 09. I got to 2,000 followers. So I don't know, 8, 9, 10 months, all those math numbers there. I got to January and said, okay, since my world is about marketing, and since I have people asking me about it in a consulting level, I shouldn't do what other gurus do and just write it off because I don't like it. Because in social media, remember, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter if you want to do it, it's happening. It's going on. So I had to say to myself, okay, I'm going to give it the old college try, right, which is 1.2 grade point for me. I'm going to give it the old college try and go to rock Twitter. I'm going to live on Twitter for 30 days. It's like a reality show. I literally was going to live on Twitter from waking up in the morning in bed and grabbing my BlackBerry, which I do now, and I know some of you do. Not because I've been in your beds. Oh, Lord. Wow, that's getting awkward. From morning until when I went to sleep. That was me. I was going to be the CRO of my company, the Chief Relationship Officer of UnMarketing. I told my assistant to hold all my calls. I didn't answer them anyways. I told my girlfriend, I told my son, bye-bye. I'll see you guys in a month. I'm going to be totally obsessed with this. And for 30 days, I tweeted. And boy, did I tweet. I tweeted 7,000 times in January. 7,000 times in January. But here's the deal. I went from 2,000 followers on January 1st to 10,000 by the end of the month. And that was 10,000 organic followers. There was no system. There was no trick. There was no, I can't sell this course because I didn't do anything fancy. I just lived there. I wanted to create such a presence on Twitter that if I was gone for a day, people would call the police. Because something must have happened. I wanted to become known. I wanted to build my platform in Twitter. And why I chose Twitter? Because I could walk in day one and start building it. And start getting followers. Your strategies change a bit as you go, but that was my job. I had to live there. I believed that business was built on relationships. So I had to make building them my business. That's another awesome line. That's my favorite one. Just use that one. But think about that for a second. Think about that line. If you believe business is built on relationships, you've got to make building your business. It's a very easy equation. If I try to explain Twitter, especially people in the corporate world, they're like, I don't get that tweezer. What's that tweezer thing you use? I don't understand it. I kind of chuckle a bit. And then I walk away and saying, don't talk about Twitter. Don't talk about social media. Talk about relationships. The same people who will go to a networking event for 3 hours and get cornered by the creepy dude with scotch, unless they're in this room. If you don't see the creepy dude with scotch in the room, you might be the creepy dude, just so you know. That you have to understand that going to a networking event is a lot of effort and for a very small return a lot of times. But on Twitter, I could scale it a lot. I could get in there right away. But at the start of my phase, I had to jump in and ask questions and follow people and find them. So I had to create a habit of Twitter. Twitter had to become habitual. If you want to do well on social media, it has to become part of your routine. I don't care how much time you've got per day to do it. If you want to build relationships, you've got... Hi! Welcome back. You can fall asleep during my presentation. The world is no help. So, we're just going to snore. So what happened on Twitter was I started building momentum and building momentum, building momentum. I had to make it habitual. Every single day I was on there. Here's my job. If you want to write this down as your technique, because you can do it now. And you can do it right now if you want. I had to make sure a couple